Never should a fellow human being have to feel insecure, terrified for being who they are.
My name is Magda Shalom. I was born in Győr, Hungary. And I am a survivor of Auschwitz.
My name is Bob Hershkowitz, and I was born in Belgium.
My name is Joshua Gortler. I was born in a very small town.
My name is Susie Sherman. I was born in 1930.
My name is George Baikovsky, and I was born on a farm in...
My name is Hester Kuhl, and I was born in Amsterdam.
I'm Peter Dam. I was born in Berlin, Germany.
My name is Bertie Marson, and I was born in Amsterdam.
My name is Eva Tannenbaum Cummins, and I'm from Berlin, Germany.
My name is Peter Metzelar, born in Amsterdam, Holland.
My name is Frida Zuri. I was born in 1929 in Moravska Ostrava.
I'm Steve Adler. I was born in Berlin, Germany, 1930. I was 8.5 years old when my mother and father put me on a train to Hamburg and then on a ship to London.
My liberty was taken away from me when I was 14 years old. I went into hiding up in an attic, which I spent 18 months. My name is Henry Friedman. I was born in Brody, Poland.
One day they said they are going to take us again somewhere. And they put us in a cattle wagons, and each section about 100 people. And we were just packed in, but somehow I was pushed to a little window, and as I looked out the window, I saw my father standing outside, and I yelled out, "Dad!" They dragged him. They started to beat him, kicked him, and that was the last time I saw my father.
Hate, prejudice, bullying, intimidation, scapegoating. All fueled the Holocaust, and all are with us still.
My family is originally from Somalia, but there was a civil war that forced them out. The Somali Civil War was a war that had a lot of similarities with the Holocaust. I lost a lot of family members because they were from the wrong tribe and they were scapegoated by other tribes for the nation's problems, and that's why I had to flee my home country.
Genocide, Cambodia in the mid-1970s, 2 million dead. Bosnia, Srebrenica, 1995, genocide, 8,000 dead. Rwanda, genocide, 1994, 800,000 dead. Darfur, 2003, genocide, 300,000 dead. Germany, 1933. Germany's defeat in World War I leaves the economy devastated. Adolf Hitler and the National Socialist Party take office, vowing to restore German power and prestige. The party looks for scapegoats, blaming Jews, communists, and intellectuals for the country's problems. The National Socialist German Workers' Party, the Nazis. The Nazis and their collaborators implemented the systematic state-sponsored annihilation of European Jewry. Between 1933 and 1945, 6 million Jews were murdered. The Nazis targeted millions more for destruction, citing ethnic, racial, or national reasons.
Kristallnacht started on the evening of the 9th of November, 1938. I went to school in the morning with my brother, but we were immediately sent home. There was a man in our living room with my dad. He took him away. He was gone for 6 weeks. I didn't know where he was. He came back on the 23rd of December, 38, beaten up, smelling terribly. He was a mess, shaved head, no hair on his head. It was Sachsenhausen, north of Berlin. My family on my mother's side had lived in Germany for many generations. I have one photograph showing my mother as a baby, her mother, her grandmother, and her great-grandmother. So we were German.
Brody was quite a Jewish town. Before the Second World War, about half of the population was Jewish. It had a huge synagogue, took a whole block. And I remember, like Friday night or Saturday, walking to the synagogue, you could hear the choir in a distance. When Nazi Germany occupied Brody, Jews could not go to school any longer. Jews could not teach.
September 1935. After declaring Germans to be racially superior, Hitler imposes the Nuremberg Laws. The law for the protection of German blood and German honor prohibited marriages and relations between Jews and non-Jews. The Reich Citizenship Law stripped Jews of their German citizenship. The Nuremberg Laws institutionalized Nazi racist theories, defined a Jew as anyone with 3 or 4 Jewish grandparents, and deprived Jews of their political rights.
My dream was to go to college and become a kindergarten teacher, but it was impossible. And my sister, who just graduated from college and became a teacher, she couldn't get a job because they fired people, Jewish people, not hiring.
With few exceptions, countries closed their borders to Jews trying to flee Germany. In 1938, Great Britain offered to accept 10,000 Jewish children from Nazi-occupied countries.
I was one of the 10,000 children that was permitted to enter England using the Kindertransport to get us out of Germany. And my parents put me on the train, and that's how I got out. I was in a foreign country. I didn't know the language. I didn't know anything. I didn't know where I was supposed to go.
Approximately in May of 1942, the Germans started ordering Jews to move in to a special part of Brody, which would be called the ghetto.
One night, a neighbor girl waited for me at the train station and said, "Don't be surprised because your parents and your brother is already packed and you have to leave your home." The next morning, we were still in our home when people come in and whatever they wanted to take out, nobody stopped them.
Myself, my mother, my brother, and the Jewish teacher found space with the parents of Julia Simchuk, who risked their lives to take our family in.
Only a small percentage of non-Jewish people, people like the Simchuks, helped rescue Jews.
Half of the house the Simchuks lived in, the other half, they had animals. We were put above the animals. When morning came, we found ourselves in complete darkness because we were surrounded by hay, and our space was about the size of a queen-size bed. And all I would be able to do in the space is either lay down or sit up, because there was not enough room for me to stand up. Little did I know at that time that I will have to spend 18 months in this space without ever raising my voice, because all I could do is whisper.
I had an opportunity to hide in a small village where nobody knew that I was Jewish, but I couldn't leave my mother because always was said that we are going to be taken away to work somewhere, and I knew that my mother needs me. Therefore, I did not hide.
And after a few days, I got used to the darkness. I noticed a nut in the paneling, and I had a little knife. I started working on it, and after a few days, I got an opening about the size of a silver dollar. And that opening gave me a view of the outside, and I could see boys playing football, screaming, laughing.
Many Jews fought back with acts of defiance, from observing religious tradition to creating rescue networks and, when possible, all-out armed resistance.
One day they said they are going to take us again somewhere. And they put us in a cattle wagons, and after traveling night and days, finally we arrived someplace and we can get out of the train and breathe some fresh air. We had to stand right away, 5 in a row, and then they yelled out, separate the woman and separate the man. And at that point, they took my brother away. And my mother was devastated that they are taking the son away. By that time, my mother was very, very weak already. So he sent my mother on his left and me on the right. And I ran after my mother again, and they pulled me back, and they said, she will go to shower, I will go to shower, and we're gonna be together again. So I hugged my mother and I kissed her and I said, Mom, I'll see you later. But of course, I have never seen my mother again.
The Nazis operated thousands of concentration camps, forced labor camps, and death camps. The largest was Auschwitz-Birkenau. From early 1942 to late 1944, trains delivered Jews from all over Nazi-occupied Europe to the gas chambers and ovens of Auschwitz. At Auschwitz alone, the Germans murdered 1.1 million people. 90% of them were Jews.
I was for 10 days in Auschwitz. And then they decided to take us someplace else. And we arrived to Krakow, Plaszow, a terrible, terrible concentration camp. They gave us work that's just unbelievable.
The people that took us in were not the elite. They were poor people. My father prepared food for 6 months, but the food was gone after 3 months. And we were cut down to one meal and would be sent up to us at night. Mainly it was a pot of soup and a piece of bread for each one of us. The lady never had to wash the pot because I had the privilege to lick every little drop of food that was still left in that pot, because by that time I was so hungry. March 14, 1944, when we were liberated, by that time we were skeletons. I weighed about 40 kilos, which is about 80 pounds or something. Out of about 9,000 Jews that lived in the city of Brody, we were less than 100 of us that survived.
The Russian army got closer, so the Germans didn't want them to see a concentration camp. So they decided to take us away from over there. And we winded up again in Auschwitz. And this is the time when we got our tattoos. A-17170.
There are two reasons why I do this. The first one is that I feel myself being the voice of the children who didn't make it. But the second reason, I think equally important, is that I feel that the story about my experience is being played out again in schools. Children who are different are singled out for bullying or other unacceptable behavior, and that's exactly what happened to me.
The Holocaust is an important lesson to learn to avoid other discrimination of other human beings.
I first started learning about the Holocaust in the 5th grade. I really started understanding that the Holocaust was a systematic annihilation of an entire people.
It didn't just happen because one person. It took time to organize the liquidation of 6 million Jews.
Genocide means the deliberate and systematic extermination of a national, racial, or cultural group. The word genocide was introduced into the English language in 1944 by Raphael Lemkin, a Polish Jew who escaped the Holocaust.
This is why it's so important for future generations to learn about the Holocaust. And that's the reason why I tell the story, because I believe one person can make a difference. And all I hope is one person will make the right decision and save another life. Because one life is as important as saving the world.
Never should a fellow human being have to feel insecure, terrified for being who they are. Standing idly by, watching people being bullied, that is worse than doing the evil itself. We must learn from history and stand up for what is right and against what is wrong. The time is long since past to stop watching, to stop bullying.